Hi BookTube, Sarah here and welcome to my channel. Today I am coming to you with a really fun collab video. So Chloe and I talked about doing this together. So of course my collab is with the lovely Chloe over at Always Booked. She is a very good personal friend of mine, even though we've never met in real life, and that makes me sad. Hopefully when COVID times are over, I can make my way down to the US to visit her in person. But that being said, we decided to do a collab video today, and I'm super stoked about it because it is, of course, a Christmas themed video. Hence, the pink Santa hat is back on. You guys have been seeing these in this hat in videos every day from me with my own advent, but to break it out for other videos is always fun too because I only really get to wear it once a year. So the video today is kind of a wish list of sorts to authors. Authors that we wish would either write more Christmas books or just write Christmas books in general if they haven't before. Now, all the authors I'm going to talk about, no, two of the authors I'm going to talk about definitely have written Christmas books in the past, but in my opinion, they need to write more. And then I couldn't really come up with 5 because the bulk of the authors that I read do write a ton of Christmas books. But the last one is kind of an overall request to authors who write these types of books. So the first author I want to mention, of course, is a very favorite of mine, and that is Heather Graham. I love Heather Graham. She does great romantic suspense, paranormal romance novels. She writes one of my favorite series, which is the Crew of Hunters series. And what I love about the Crew of Hunters series, and I think it makes it very unique, is that for the novellas, like, long-running series tend to have a lot of little novellas that come in between some of the books, that she actually sets those at Halloween, which I think is delightful. I mean, most romance series, whether it be, mostly with contemporary especially, those small little novellas that you see that come between the books tend to happen during the Christmas season. It's an easy way for the author to write a Christmas book without writing a full-length Christmas book. But I would really love to see a Crew of Hunters Christmas story. Now, there are a couple that I think she's self-published, but I want to see more Christmas stories from her. She wrote a couple of great ones. She wrote one called The Bride something. I think I have it on my shelf. I'll post a picture of it up here because it's The Bridal something. But it was a contemporary and it was really good. The other one that she wrote that I really liked was called The Last Noel, and it was actually a murder mystery that takes place on Christmas Eve. It's a relatively short book, and it was really good. I've read it a couple times. Highly recommend that one. But I would love to see her write more, both within the paranormal, romantic suspense, even back to contemporary if she so desires, or historical. Heather Graham has written quite a number of historicals. So she kind of runs the gamut of a lot of different genres. So she has a lot open that she could write Christmas stories for. The next one, Julia Quinn. I love Julia Quinn's writing. I think it's fantastic. The Bridgerton series is by far one of my favorite historical series of all time. And this part of me, though, is a little disappointed that we didn't get a Christmas story for the Bridgertons. Or am I wrong? Is there such a thing? I think maybe one of the second epilogues might have had something to do with the Christmas season, but I would love to see a standalone like novella, maybe going back to when the Bridgertons were little. How delightful would that be? Or, set it between some of the books when some of them are older. I love it. I think that would just be so charming, excuse me, and delightful, and I would absolutely love to see it. The next author is a duo of authors, and of course, that is the great Christina Lauren. They, of course, just wrote a Christmas book that came out in 2020 called In a Holidays, which I thought was so spectacular. I loved it. I know a lot of people were on the fence about it, but I thought it was so charming. They need to do more. If they could do another one next year, I would be totally happy about that. To do some more Christmas books. I know that it's a duo of authors. They tend to bring out like one book a year, maybe every 8 or 9 months or so. So I know it's a lot to ask when when you're writing really great books and they take a lot longer to come to like into our hands as readers. But I would love to see another Christmas one eventually. Next year, the year after. I'm not picky. But I just think that, like, the way that they wrote In a Holidays was so great. I would love to see what else they can do with the Christmas theme. And the last author I want to share with you is Penny Reed. She wrote the Winston Brothers series, which is a much beloved series of mine. Again, like I was talking about with Julia Quinn, I would love to see, now I know that there are scenes within some of the books that happen over the holidays. I think it's in book 2 or book 3. Cletus's book, I think, along with, is it Dwayne's book or is it Bo? I always get the twins confused. Whoever was book 4, I think, because those books actually, if you read them, you read book 3, then you read book 4, but you find it as you're reading book 4 that they actually happen at the same time. But it's just 2 different things that are happening, which I think was really brilliantly written. But outside of that, Christmas, I think, does happen in that book, but it's very briefly mentioned. It's like less than a chapter. But I would love to see a novella that features the Winston brothers, you know, like an after, now that all the stories have been written, can we do like a big Winston family brothers, you know, Christmas story? How delightful would that be? You know, something like, it's essentially what Chloe and I are asking for, are kind of like a tip of the hat to the fans who have loved these books and would love to see these things. So yeah, I would love to see that from Penny Reed. And last but not least, as I said, this is not an author, but this is more of a general, overall, what I'd love to see more. And that is, now you do see it in historical romance, but it's nowhere near as prevalent as in contemporary romance. But I would really love to see some of these longer running historical romance series, and this is going back to my talk about Julia Quinn, to see more of them put Christmas books in. I am such a fan of history that I love to not only read about Christmas, but how it used to be celebrated. You know, I'd love to see Joanne Shoup do a Christmas story set in New York City during, you know, the time period that she writes in, like the Regency New York time period. You know, we read a lot about, you know, Regency Christmases. And I know Harlequin Historical is fabulous for this. They do a lot every year. So if you are looking for more Christmas historical romance, definitely check out the Harlequin Historical line. And that being said, historical fiction is another big, big topic that I love, like a group of books I really like to read. So I would really love to see an occasional book set at Christmas time, or that has to take place at, or, you know, has something to do with Christmas. That would be delightful too. So yeah, so anyway guys, that is all that I have for today's video. I do hope that you enjoyed it. And until my next one, take care and happy reading. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye guys.